A new episode of Digital Circus came out the other day, and I realized that this franchise can be a new cool thing that I have to look forward to watching on YouTube every few months or so. And to celebrate, I wanted to do some fan art of my favorite characters. This video is first going to focus on Pomni. I have a feeling that they're going to find new ways to traumatize Pomni every episode. So I started out with a warm-up, just drawing the default design. The original design does not have a neck, so I wanted to see what that looked like because I usually always give characters necks unless they're stuffed animals. And after I finished, I was like, I don't really like not having a neck, so I added a neck. Usually it's always best to draw things in your style if you can. It's just easier to go with what you know over using your extra brain cells trying to figure out what someone else did. Unless, of course, you're studying. If you're studying, then like that's the whole point. Detective mode is supposed to use extra stamina points. Anyway, on to design number 1. In episode 2, they were sent to this wonderful candy place. It's the best place I've ever seen. I would like to live there, but not as a candy person because I don't want to be eaten by the giant globby chocolate monster. Back on topic, Pomni has an attitude because she had a nightmare and she thinks that all this LARPing stuff is nonsense and it's dumb because it's not real. What's the point? And while they're listening to the Candy Princess's instructions about the quest or whatever, Ragatha tries to hype her up and Pomni's like, I'm not a child, you don't have to cheer me up, or something like that. She was so annoyed. That made me laugh. And I feel like that's something a teenager would say, you know, don't treat me like a kid. And so the first design is just a grumpy school uniform Pomni, and I love her choppy square bangs, so I kept those and I added it to the end of the ponytail as well. The second design is, I think Pomni knows about video games because NPCs, the only people I've heard talk about NPCs in real life are people who play games, and if a non-game person knows what an NPC is, it's usually because they're chronically online, and that's become a part of general internet culture lingo. Thank you, TikTok and Twitter. So Pomni in the limbo space with Gummy Goo as he had an existential crisis. She's remaining calm, explaining everything, so she must be a gamer girl. She must also be Team Nintendo because her circus outfit is red and blue. That cannot be a coincidence. After that, I added some nods to streetwear and alt fashion because that's like my favorite type of clothing to draw. There's no way I was gonna get through this whole video without putting someone in it. So second in the line to get redesigned next is Ragatha, and I had to really think about who or what she could be because she's perky. She seems like she sees the positive in things even if stuff's not going super great. She didn't give me the vibe that she was like super young. She seemed middle-aged, maybe early 30s, late 20s. And the positivity, she could either be a teacher or a secretary, or maybe she's someone who wasn't very positive and now having this experience has her trying to see the best in things. It's like, you know, like a life lesson or something. That's usually how these go when you're like isekai the way. It's because you need to learn something, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. But those were my thoughts and those were my options for her, and I decided to go ahead and try the teacher one just because teachers can be anything. They can be really fun, especially if you're like a kindergartner teacher. You could probably go to work in like colorful overalls and a funny hat and it'd be fine because you're going to be interacting with children who need to be entertained. Next for Jax, I had a few different options for Jax too, and I was also thinking about whether or not I wanted to incorporate the purple into his actual skin. And I know humans in real life aren't purple, but this is an opportunity to try something different, okay? So what if humans could be purple and we just left the purple on there? And now about his attitude, he seems very edgy, always wants to go against the grain. That's something a gamer boy teen would do, or even like a child, like a 10 or 12-year-old who plays Halo on the weekends or something. You know, you hear about those kids who are always saying slurs into the headset. He could be one of those, or he could be one of those people that like lives in his mom's basement and tweets on Twitter. I don't know, but those were the energies that he was giving me. And third option, which is like not as likely but could still be possible, maybe Jax was a successful businessman and he was so bored of his life and now he has this opportunity in this magical place to do whatever he wants, to feed into whatever thought he has whatever impulse, he can say and do whatever, and there are virtually no consequences. As far as we know, no one has died here except for that one guy who abstracted, and that wasn't Jax's fault. That wasn't the fault of any of them. That was just Kaufman was like his own issue, like that happened to him. So for Jax, I wanted to give him a more laid back look of someone who's maybe a little disheveled and doesn't necessarily take care of themselves. And he's gonna have like a little bit of a smirk, a little smug look, because he's not here for anyone's best interest. He's here for his own entertainment. Now, last but not least, or maybe they are least, because Zubi, what do you? Let me look it up. Oh, Zubal. See, I even forgot their name. Isn't that sad? I love Zubal's design, but for whatever reason, they have not been able to shine yet in the episodes, and I'm just waiting for a Zubal episode, because in the first one, Jax threw all the pieces everywhere, and they were like, oh no, we have to go find Zubal, and so that was the whole thing. Didn't even get to shine, really, didn't get to adventure. And then in the second episode, Zubal's like, I'm not doing this. You're not about to send me to Candy Kingdom. No thank you. Which I get. It did look like it would have been horrible. Zubal's probably like me, wants to stay in a room with a bed sheet over their head playing games or drawing or watching YouTube, which, so I understood why they left. But I need to know more about them because I love their design. It's so funny and wacky. It reminds me of Toy Story, where the Mr. and Mrs. Potato Heads would be attacked by children and the random parts would be put where they don't belong and they would look crazy afterwards. That's Zubal, and that is why I need more Zubal content, because now with the human design I could do anything. I could make them wear what's it called, like Harajuku style clothing, and it would match. Or they could be an artist. They could be a librarian. The possibilities are endless. So this is my letter, my plea to the Digital Circus team. I'm sure you already have one planned, but please don't get canceled before we get a Zubal episode. It's all I'm waiting on. And also that super depressed person, I forget their name, but I'm gonna add it in post editing. That super sad little ribbon spiral girl with a mask that cries, that Jax bullies all the time for some reason. Anyway, I love Digital Circus, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it, because more and more indie projects, animation projects, have been launching on YouTube recently, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Even when they aren't well received, I'm still like, you guys, you did it. You created something, and a big blockbuster had no say in it, so great job, everybody. These are all the designs next to each other. I hope everybody enjoyed watching today's video, and I hope that you will also be inspired to do your own designs and redesigns if you want to. If you're not an artist, I mean, don't bother then, but these are my social links. If you have some free time, feel free to stick around, subscribe and like, and watch some of my other videos. I'm gonna try to be more consistent in the future. I recently opened a VGen account. It's a site that kind of takes the hassle out of finding commissions, finding commissioners. And so if you are interested in a commission, or if you just want to follow me because I need to get verified first, so I need 10 followers, and you want to help me out, I would really appreciate that. But no pressure. And I will see you guys later.